Beautiful sunset on the beach with my friends and family. Take me step by step, we'll take it all. Baby, don't you miss it? Don't you miss it for the world? 'Cause I know I'll talk.
Hello, and welcome to the 2021 Power Woman Network Conference, The Journey to Becoming, strategically positioning yourself in the new normal. Now, welcome our host, Rama Zakaria.
Welcome everyone to the Power Woman Network. I'm super excited to be here this evening. And it's really going to be amazing today on the journey to becoming. You may be great at what you do, but then you are absolutely unrecognized for your unique skills and mastery. The new world of today has presented even greater competition. And those who really stand out are those who understand the place of strategic position. So today we'll be having an amazing program, and we have our awesome speakers ready for us this evening. I am super excited to be here at Power Woman Network. What is our mission? Our mission is to offer leadership development, mentorship, economic advancement, and empowerment for women through job creation, skill acceleration, capacity building, advocacy programs, strategic networking, and collaborative practices. Welcome to the journey to becoming. So let us welcome the founder of Power Woman, and that is no other person but Kemi Ogunkoya. She is the founder of Power Woman Network and the CEO of Release Work, to give us the welcoming address. Thank you. Let's have you, Power Woman Kemi.
Is a renowned leadership development strategist, management consultant, author, creator of the Dozen Model Leadership Framework, and a member of the prestigious Forbes Council. For close to a decade, she has conducted and facilitated high-impact leadership development interventions across Africa, North America, and Asia. She is an alumni of the Said Business School, University of Oxford. She is a certified management consultant, a master's neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, certified by the INLP Center in California, USA, and an emotional intelligence certified specialist. She holds a bachelor's degree in education and economics from the University of Ibadan and has an MBA in management consultancy from the University of Wales, Cardiff, UK. Kemi is the creator of the Dozen Model Leadership Framework, a model that has been adopted by numerous corporate organizations and political structures for effective leadership development. Kemi is the founder of Release Works, a leadership consultancy firm, co-founder of Speakers HQ. She is the chairman board of trustees of the Power Woman Network and the Lead Africa Now initiative. She is also the programs director for Women in Tech, Nigeria, a global organization with presence in over 100 countries. She is a convener of the Business Edge Workshop and the Leadership Guardian Summit. Welcome, our speaker, Kemi Ogunkoya.
Hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are joining us from today. It is such a great honor and a privilege to be here today. It's such a great honor also to have you join us on this wonderful and amazing journey. To officially welcome you to the 2021 Power Woman Network Conference that is themed The Journey to Becoming. And today we will be exploring how you can strategically position yourself in the new normal. And it promises to be a life-changing and transformational event. Now, this event goes on to further buttress what we stand for in the Power Woman Network community. We are a community of women who are on a quest for more. But beyond what we stand to achieve for ourselves is the difference that we strive to bring in the world that we live in, to ensure that we leave the world a better place. And through our unique strengths, our unique gifts, our unique talents, we make a change wherever we find ourselves. In the Power Woman Network, we believe that every woman has an amazement of value, and that in every woman is treasure, and that through the community of women, like-minded, progressive women coming together to achieve purpose, we can definitely deliver a better world. So it is on this note that I would like to appreciate all our amazing speakers who have taken out time of their very busy schedule to be with us today. They will be sharing a whole lot of information, a whole lot of insights, and they will be sharing from their wealth of experience. So I would love to say a big thank you to Mrs. Alero Balogun. I would love to say a big thank you to Mrs. Kate Isa, to Mr. Sheye Adepoju. I would love to say a big thank you to Mrs. Sholakwe Akinpelu and the amazing Mrs. Taiwo Dayo Abato. I sincerely do appreciate you, and I appreciate the sacrifice that you make every day in ensuring that you are not the last woman or the last man standing, ensuring that you're able to mentor, you're able to develop, you're able to build capacity and make everywhere you find yourself a better place. It is on this note that I would like to also welcome once more everyone who has joined this call and everyone who will eventually join this call. Please, I always believe that until we become better at who we are, we will struggle to achieve greatness in what we do. So 2022 beckons, and it's a year where the voices of leaders, the voices of transformational leaders need to be heard louder than ever before. So the insights that will be shared in the course of this session today, please make sure that you turn those insights into action. It is time for you to find your place, and the world needs your message. The world needs your voice. The world needs the awesomeness that you bring today more than ever before. So thank you once more again, and it is a great honor to serve. I bring you wishes also from the amazing women in the Power Woman Network community and from our board and also members of our management team. So we're looking forward to a great event. Welcome again and have a great one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Power Woman Kemi. That was really amazing. Amazing. That was an amazing welcome address. Thank you kindly for those beautiful words that you gave to us this evening. It's so good to hear from you. Now we'll be going on to becoming the woman of your dreams. Our speaker for this topic is none other person but Power Woman Taiwo Dayo Abaton. Power Woman Taiwo Dayo Abaton, let us have you.
Is a seasoned HR specialist and currently the group head, Human Capital and Corporate Service at Primera Africa Finance Group, a strategic human resource manager, trained career coach, people management leader, business leadership and board advisor, and globally licensed human resource practitioner, offering over 15 years core HR experience of leading multi-generational workforce across the insurance, healthcare, consulting, and financial service sphere, with a personal commitment and stride to build the next generation of HR and business leaders. She has over the years developed competencies in performance management, people and cultural transformation, learning and development, manpower planning, recruitment and selection, organizational development, and employee relations, and her career spans different sectors of the Nigerian economy. She oversees HR activities in 4 subsidiaries of the organization across Nigeria and the West African coast, with a workforce of over 4,000. Welcome our speaker, Taiwo Dayo Abaton.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction, and I'm super excited to be here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Power Woman Conference. I'm a proud Power Woman, and I'm glad to share with you from my experience what you should do to become the woman you want to be. I recently authored a book titled Jumpstarting Your Career, a professional guide for career women. And I would like to read an excerpt from that book, something to charge us up this evening. I wrote, I am proud to be a woman. God did not make a mistake making me one. If there is ever a next world and I am to come again, I will still come back as a woman because we are the best thing to happen to mankind. As women, we are nurturers, we are creators, we are vision carriers and vision enablers. Men will say that they are the head, but I would say for women, we are the neck. Without us, the men cannot survive. The world needs us so much. We have valuable attributes. We are virtuous. As women, we are focused, we are persevering, painstaking, and also beautiful. We are phenomenal. We are great. This is the mindset I want each and every one of us to take away from here this evening. Once again, welcome to the conference. And so I'll be sharing with you what you need to do to become the woman that you should be, or the woman you want to become. I want to break a stereotype. Culture or society has put us as women with a mindset that think that femininity isn't strong. Can I charge us this evening that every one of us, either male or female, we have both qualities innate in us. For every woman, there's a male part, and for every and also a female part. So the first thing you need to do is to break that mindset. Femininity is strong. Femininity isn't, the mindset we have is that femininity isn't strong. But I want us to take it back today that femininity is strong. We as women, we are strong. And to become the woman that you want to be, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional and action taken. I will start by saying that the first thing you need to do, be willing to work hard. Be willing to work hard. Your dreams will only remain dreams if you don't endeavor to live the life you have imagined. Success comes in unexpected hours. I will repeat, success comes in unexpected hours. You never know when you will break that barrier. You never know when you will break the limits. So be willing to work hard. Nothing worth having ever happened miraculously without hard work. You have to understand also as a woman that there may be setbacks along the way. You may have to readjust your sales. You may have to readjust your plans. You may have to rework and re-strategize along the journey. But fortitude and grit will get you there. Take it from here. Be willing to work hard. Now, I'm going to also say something that the next thing you need to do, be ready to say no. As women, we've been taken to be the weaker vessel, or the one you throw all the load on. Be willing to say no. Know yourself. Know what and to what extent you can exert yourself. And when you are breaking your threshold, be willing to nicely say no. In the place of work, when assignments are given, and you know that it's going beyond what you could take, walk up to that person and say, can I pass on this? Or can I do it at another time? Don't be too willing to always take the pressure on yourself. Be willing to say no. I would also say, put yourself as priority. And in 2 words, that's self-care. Put yourself as priority. Say yes to what makes you passionate about life. I believe every human being has been called to a higher purpose beyond our day-to-day, beyond our 8 to 5. And so only be willing to say yes to what makes you passionate in your life. So what are you passionate about? Put yourself as priority. I will challenge us again to say that as women, we are mothers, we are sisters, we are that sorority sister, and we are that friend. But in all of this, when everybody goes away from you, ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? And so most times we find that women, we don't live our lives, we live our lives for others. Please, from today, put yourself as a priority. To become the woman that you want to become, be open to avenues of various possibilities. Basically, this will help you to take the punches and the wind when they blow hard. Follow the path of least resistance. Be open to possibilities. I would say finally that we are powerful as women and we are strong. We are powerful and we are strong. Femininity is very much more of a mindset and inner work than what we carry as women. I say once again that we are powerful and we are strong. Go on your journey to become the woman that you want to become. Thank you very much.
Really amazing. Femininity is a thing of the mind. And as a woman, it's important to be intentional so that we can become the woman of our dreams. Thank you, TDA. That was really beautiful and amazing. Thank you kindly. It was so good to have you. Now we're going on to our next speaker. But before then, I'd like to welcome everyone once again to this conference. If you're just joining us, welcome to the journey to becoming. It is so amazing to have you on board this evening or whatever time you're watching, whichever country you're listening from. Thank you for joining us. And please take note of whatever it is you learned this evening. All those words are really beautiful and they are so useful. So let us go on to the next speaker of the day. We have Sholape Akinpelu. We'll be listening to strategic positioning for women. Strategic positioning for women. Welcome on board, Sholape Akinpelu. Let us have you.
Sholape Akinpelu is a certified financial education instructor and a member of the Personal Finance Speakers Association USA. Sholape is the founder of Harvest, a women-focused and inclusive fintech platform for the underserved and excluded women in Africa. Harvest enables women to participate in savings, impact investment, and credit. Credit particularly for smallholder women farmers in Nigeria. She is the country manager for Women in Tech Global. As a financial feminist, Sholakwe is a pro SDG 5 and SDG 10 who believes in achieving gender equality and reducing inequality through financial literacy, technology, and access to capital. For over 12 years, Sholakwe has worked on Nigeria's top financial brands, including Skybank, Sterling Bank, Wema Bank, Lead Assurance, and FCMB, before waltzing to the client side of communications at Meristem, a leading investment firm, as the head of corporate and marketing communications. Sholakwe is the Nigerian chapter director of Women in Tech, an international organization with a double mission to close the gender gap and to help women embrace technology. Welcome our speaker, Sholakwe Akinpelu.
Thank you so much, and good day, everyone. Thank you for that powerful rendition, TDA. Congratulations to the Power Woman Network. It's so awesome being one. So I'll just quickly dive into strategic positioning for women, but I think we can't really appreciate the topic if we don't go into why should women strategically position. Why are we not talking about humans generally positioning? I'm sure that we have gentlemen on this call too, and in the course of this my 10-minute session, I'll touch on how much we need them as allies, how much we need them as sponsors. But then we just have to delve into the biases and backlashes that have held women back before now, and it's a generational challenge. It is a gender gap, but most importantly, I like to say it is a power gap too, because if you look at it, it's a systemic way of holding women back from power, power such that such as, so I'm trying to relate it back to what we do at Harvest now. Like I say, money itself is power. Money is emotional. That's why it's called currency. But if you have, half of the population with an imbalanced access to even financial services, which is a global issue, but it's just quite acute in this part of the continent, because Nigeria is the only country, left on the gender financial inclusion case in Africa, in West Africa, forgive me. So basically, we just have to look at the biases and backlashes, which I call the invisible forces holding women back. There are too many facts out there, and these are measured facts. These are not just facts that are being thrown around. And I'm sure that if I share some analogy, we'll be able to relate. Globally, women hold only 27% of senior business positions. As a woman in tech myself, we are dealing with a major challenge, a major gender gap in technology, because the share of female graduates in STEM globally is lower than 15% globally. So yes, we are data challenged in Nigeria, but I'm certain that if we come to dig further, we would have even worse statistics. Generally, according to UNDP statistics, almost half of men and women think men make better political leaders, right? And that's why I say that the stereotypes that hold us back, they are not just, gender centric, they are general stereotypes. Because recall, I said almost half of men and women think men make better political leaders. So over time, a lot of people, have said women should know their place. Women should know that, even in the in culture, in religion, women should know that they should be seen and not heard. Women should know that they should be home. The man can, be out. Different things. So 91% of men and 86% of women show at least one clear bias against gender equality. So I would want to emphasize that from that statistics, between 91 and 86, we're just looking at 5 points difference. So it shows that both women and men show at least one clear bias against gender equality. And to bring that home, looking at the top 5 countries with the highest biases. Ladies and gentlemen, our dearest country, Nigeria, is on that list, and these are UNDP statistics. The other countries flanking us are Pakistan, Qatar, Zimbabwe, and Jordan. And that's why I said that for what we're doing at Harvest, we're solving for a continental challenge, that is bridging financial inclusion and equalizing financial access for both genders. So why should women strategically position? I think I've been able to situate in the past few minutes the biases, the backlashes, and the invisible forces holding women back. So how do we forge ahead? How then do we close this, gap? We're looking at a gap that, has been stated that it might take us about 3 centuries, to close. So I have a daughter who is 5 years, and I look at her like, so it would likely take maybe our next 4, 5, maybe 6 generations before we even have chances at closing this gender gap. And that's exactly is why, women need to strategically position, especially because, and if I say this, please, I want us to really ponder on it. If you have, let's say you have a machine that can deliver, say, it can deliver, let's even use a generic machinery that is producing ice blocks. So I want to believe that we love having our drinks on ice or something. And then this machinery can do, say, 100 crates of ice, can deliver that daily. And this machinery has been for years, takes on the same power, but then delivers, say, about 30, where it actually has the capacity to deliver 100. That's what's happening to the world, now, because where half of the, globe cannot have access to finance, have access to power, have access to freedom, as the other half, what it does then is that we are underwhelming our capacity as a globe. We're underwhelming our capacity as a continent. We're underwhelming our capacity as a country, I say as a country because again, Nigeria is on the priority list of gender imbalances across different indices, and so that is why we can go on and talk about it and get blue in the face and get red in the face, but no one is going to do anything if you and I. So when I say you and I, ladies and gentlemen on this call, do not help or take a decision. That's what I said, to take a decision. That is, the women have to take a decision, and the men who are in places of power and position need to help. That is, consistently help women strategically take these positions and close that gap that we see. I say consistently, and also put your mouth where your money is, especially for men and women that are in places of power. And I'll talk much about that. I think I have just some few minutes to round up, because there's a consistent gap between intent and actions. So it's one thing to say, you know what, as a woman, I'm going to take up space, I'm going to, strategically position. This is December 2021. And then you realize that another calendar, year comes in and nothing changed, nothing happened, because you said it, but you didn't do it. Or as a man or a woman in a place of power or in a place of influence, you say, you know what, I'm going to throw back the ladder and help more women, close this gap and help with my position. I'm going to throw more opportunities to women who are qualified, because yes, we're not, moving for tokenism here. And then you think it, but then you do not do it again. So we have to really, close that gap consistently. Now, how do you position? You can see all of this, but you just have to strategically, move forward and take actions. The first thing I would like to mention is to expand capacity. We would not say, oh yes, it's the time of the woman has to be, or they have 7, because there are 10 spots and we want to make it 5 women, 5 men, even when we see women that really do not have the capacity or has not displayed competence in being there. We are just going to just put them there. It will not happen, and it should not happen. And so what it means is that a lot is happening in the gender space, and like I said, a lot of noise, more noise than action. But for the actions that are going to come your way, to throw you opportunities, for opportunities that are going to come your way, for you to take them across classes, across sectors, do you have the capacity for these opportunities? How are you expanding capacities? How are you expanding, leveraging on technology, for instance? I said that. How are you opening your mind? What's your mindset like? Is it still fixed? Is it for growth? So you just have to expand capacity in your sector, or, in related sectors. You want to switch careers, you want to start a business, just do it. Talk less. You make mistakes, but let's fail quickly, fail fast, and move on. Reach back as you climb the ladder. I think I mentioned this before. For women, for men that are up there, that have opportunities, that have influence. I want to believe that we all do, no matter how small. We all do have some influence. It could be getting someone to actually see or visualize what your dreams are and all of that. Always reach back as you climb that ladder. Don't be afraid to be a spokesperson. I mentioned that because, conversations like this, or raising awareness about these gender biases, at times it makes people, I say I'm a financial feminist, I'm a proud one, right? Because I am about equalizing opportunities and access to financial services, for women and men alike. So when I say this, I've been at sessions where people would literally skip, that part of my bio, and I have to say no. Or maybe they finish, I say I'm a financial feminist, right? So you just have to, don't be afraid to be a sport. And yes, they say that there are some things that are the small stuff. There's a way, it's diplomacy. There's a way you can tell someone, to go, and then they are looking forward to it. So be aware and be always be firm about pointing the biases out. About, there are so many. I don't want to take our time. The microaggressions, the all of that. You just have to point it out and look at it in the face. At times when I do that, I see the embarrassing look on some people's face, because they don't know. People don't know. They cannot do better. So you don't be afraid to be a sport. Don't be afraid to point those things out in the workplace, at home, and many places. I have a daughter, I have a son, and the other day my son was telling my girl that you're not sitting properly like a girl. And then he was sitting, and I was saying, look, you are telling her. He said, yeah, girls should cross that. Who's teaching you all of this? So you have to point it out, because we are products of the society. 2 things: you need allies, and I'm rounding up here. You need allies. We all need allies. I saw something on the social media the other day, and was talking about people mentioning your names in the right rooms and the right places. Yes, it's true. Hard work is good. Even if I say so myself, I'm a hard worker, but then I'm a smart worker too. And I'm always looking and aligning. Someone asked me the other day, how were you able to achieve this? And I say, I'm always seeing there has to be a clear exchange of value. So if I'm sitting with you and I'm discussing, I'm looking at how we can exchange value quickly, right? So people don't want people that just, how can you do this for me? I want. And then how? Look at the numbers. What can we trade here? What can I put on the table? Do you understand? And so you need allies. Any people that will mention your name in rooms, there's someone that I've not met physically, and when people say, they say, oh, this person mentioned your name, is mentioned because the person is seeing the amount of work, and because I've not been shy to tell my stories. So I'll say that tell your stories too. Don't be taken back, don't be shy, don't be afraid. Even if nobody likes it, even if somebody endorses it, you post it, there's no like, there's no keep, someone is watching, and you'll be surprised where someone will mention your name. And then network. I'll round up here. So much to talk about, but then I want to believe that we'll talk more when we go to the panel session. Network. Before 2018, I was your typical couch potato, but then I knew that I was going to float her rest. It was going to be thriving on community, and I deliberately put myself out there. Today, I'm a member of the Power Woman Network, to which has definitely significantly impacted on me. So, again, I want to say thank you for joining this session, and I hope that we will all be taking a major charge from here, and it sees that we'll do better. And then when we think gender gaps, think power gaps, and look at how you can shrink that gap by being intentional and supporting people who want to close that gap. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you kindly, Power Woman Sholakwe Akinpelu. That was really amazing. Thank you kindly. That was so good. In as much as we need to work hard, we should also be deliberate about smart works. Yeah, that was so good. So now we're going on to the next topic for the day, and that is the future ready woman. The future ready woman. And the speaker is Alero Balogun. Welcome, Alero Balogun. Thank you for joining us.
Alero Balogun is the head corporate communications and CSR at Owando PLC, with over 15 years experience in marketing and communications. She joined Owando in 2013 as a corporate communications manager, a role she's held for 4 years before rising to her current position. She presently heads a team with the remit of driving positive brand perception both internally and externally, via showcasing Owando as the most desirable company to work and invest in. She successfully managed the strategy development and execution of local and international campaigns for Ando, 1.6 billion acquisition of ConocoPhillips Nigeria in 2014. Prior to joining the company, she worked in various marketing companies in the United Kingdom and Nigeria, with oversight over brands as Microsoft, Columbia Tristar, Cadbury, Elizabeth Arden, and Virgin Nigeria. She holds a Bachelor's of Art degree in marketing from the University of Central England, Birmingham, as well as an MA in advertising and marketing from the University of Leeds. Welcome our speaker, Alero Balogun.
Good afternoon, or is it good evening, everyone? Thank you very much for having me. I'm going to try not to repeat what everybody else has said, but I'm going to start off by saying that I believe the future-ready woman is already here. If I use Nigeria as an example, over the last 18 months, what we've seen is the appointment of 7 women as MD CEOs of our leading banks. Something that we haven't seen before. Maybe what you would see is one female CEO, not in Nigeria, but just in general. But just to say that in the last year, you've seen 7, and that's a significant move for us. If I think about things like the Power Woman Network, the likes of WinBiz, there's so many societies like this for women. And really the idea is, how do we grow women? How do we create the opportunities for women, make women see those opportunities and take the right steps to ensure that they realize all the things that they envisioned for themselves when they were younger. And a lot of this I didn't see when I was younger. So for me, there's an environment that means that it's it's becoming a little bit easier for that future ready woman to be ready to embrace the future. Um, the last speaker had spoken about being a smart worker. A lot of what we as women do is that we work very hard. Our belief being, if I work hard, I'll be promoted. But the truth is, it's a very different environment today, and you have to be a smart worker. And by being a smart worker, what I mean is you work hard, but you're also aware of the environment that you work in. You're aware of the politics. You're aware of who is who, whose court you need to be in. You're aware of what moves, what works, and you use that to your advantage. It means that you're one step ahead of the curve. What we tend to do is we work hard and we just sort of put our heads down and we're not really paying attention to what's happening around us. But the future ready woman has to be aware of what's going on, has to be aware of how the game is played, because the truth is, it is a game that's being played. Ultimately, we're all competing for a limited number of roles, especially the more senior that you go. And it's no longer, is this person working hard? You're all working hard. So why should they pick you over somebody else? So you really just need to be aware of your environment and what is it that I need to do far and above the work or the hard work that I give an organization to ensure that I get what I want. We need to be comfortable speaking up, and beyond speaking up, being comfortable to challenge the norm. Again, I go back to this statement of the future ready woman is here. If I think about when I was younger, um, depending on what the meeting was, where you were, you just didn't speak up. If you were a junior member of staff, you didn't speak up because you didn't think you had the right to. And I see a much younger generation that looks at life in a slightly different way. If they don't agree with the way things are being done, they speak up. If they feel things can be done in a better way, they challenge the norm. And the future ready woman has to do that. That is how you are seen. You must speak up, you must challenge biases, you must challenge what you don't agree with, and you must challenge if you believe that there's a better way of doing things. We must take ownership. And by taking ownership, it means you can't go to work and all you do is work. If you own the organization you work for, then you're willing to do more than work. You're willing to contribute ideas that will move the organization forward. You're willing to contribute ideas that will make work life better for all your colleagues, whether they're men or women. Um, and so when I speak to smart, those are the kinds of things that I'm speaking to. It means that you're not doing things the way that you always used to do them. It means being aware of what the future looks like and are you adapting yourself. So if I speak of myself today, yes, I lead a corporate communications team, but the future that is here is one that is very much technology based, social media. It's not good enough for me to say that I'm going to have a team who are going to manage social media, the technological aspect of comms. What am I doing to upskill or reskill myself so that when I engage with these people who are media savvy, I am adding value to them? Because ultimately that's what they want in a head, that's what they want in a boss. So the future ready woman is fully aware of the surroundings that she works in. And I had spoken about the fact that there seem to be a lot more societies that are skewed towards developing women. But I think outside of that, what you see is as a result of social media and as a result of our own experiences, you're seeing a lot more women speaking, trying to get the future woman ready. They're speaking, and in their speaking, they are advising women to be on this is what you need to do, this is what we did before that didn't work, these are the mistakes that we made, or these are the things that we've done really well. And those are the things that you need to do as well. When you look at magazines, a lot of the narratives about women or even the interviews with women are very, very different from if you had read a magazine 20, 30 years ago, and the kind of advice that women would have been given. So the future ready woman is here and is on social media speaking to other women to get them ready. The future ready woman is an actress who you interview in a magazine and the information and guidance she's giving you today is very different from what an actress would have said to you 20, 30 years ago, because they understand the challenges that women face, and what they're trying to do is create an environment that means more women can succeed. I think I won't go on any further, but really it's that the Future Ready Woman is here. Take advantage of of social media, take advantage of the magazines, take advantage of societies like this to tap into the knowledge of people who've done it before. If you're older, take advantage of the younger generation, because I think there's so much that we can learn from them to ensure that we're also adding value. I think they also have value that they can add to us as career women. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Power Woman Alero Balogun. That was amazing. As a future woman, yeah, the future ready woman, we should be comfortable with speaking up. Yeah, it's important to do that. Thank you so much. That was really amazing. So we're going on to the next topic. Before then, I'd like to welcome us once again to the conference. And what we're talking about right now is tech and you, the incredible leverage called technology. Our speaker is Kate Isa. Let's have you, Kate.
Kate Isa, wife, mother, and graduate of the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and the Harvard Business School, Boston, USA. She is an ordained pastor and an apostle in the marketplace, holding several leadership positions. Kate founded the Cathay Company Limited in 1989, and the company has grown to be an undisputed leader in equipping science laboratories and is the only ISO 9001-2015 certified company in that sector in Nigeria. Kate sits on the boards of several companies both within and outside the country. Welcome, our speaker, Kate Isa.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I am bringing you greetings from my internally displaced person's location in isolation at my home in Lagos, where I'm battling COVID-19 breakthrough case. COVID is real. With full vaccination of Pfizer vaccine, I am here down with COVID, but doing great, doing very well. I'm very excited to be part of this conference. Power woman. I would like to be part of this tribe. It's really an impressive network, deserving of every support to project it. A network that's focused on birthing leaders, were female leaders, to take their rightful position in the world. It is a network whose time has come. Taiwo talked about femininity and the strength in it. I dare call it feminism. And embracing feminism releases the full complement of the power in the woman. We look around, the world is messed up because we women have for so long, and I saw the speaker said, believed the lie that we need to hang back and let the men. I think Sholakwe said, men and women believe that men make better political leaders or politicians. I saw photos of the leaders of ECOWAS, their bust photos, as they came for their 60th conference. And all of them were men, not one woman. And you want to know why Africa is messed up? It's survival of the world today that women take their rightful place. Gender gaps, all of those. This is the time to step up and build the bridges, the networks, the alliances to enable the women who are willing and ready to embrace the times and the seasons to get to that place on the board table. If they don't give you the seat, create one for yourself and get you on there. There were some questions thrown out. Who do women need to become? Be yourself, be real to yourself. Where do you need to play? identify your strengths and passion, your skills, your comparative advantages, and then identify the right opportunities for yourself and step up onto the stage and dominate. Play to win. What mindset and skills do you need to adapt to win in today's VUCA? I like that word, VUCA world. To win in today's world, both men and women need to bring up their A game. The entire global environment is volatile. The times are indeed uncertain and they're complex. The problems are complex. Favorable opportunities are very limited. So only the strong, only the intentional, only the strategic can survive, can succeed. And it resonates with me when I, think about networks like this and the collaboration and the, what is it now? The opportunity to build, to help one another, to get up, in order to excel. It is important. I think it was like when I said something about men in position, making room, allowing the women, helping them. Nobody's going to do that. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to be intentional. We have to be strategic. They're not going to hand over any opportunities, any positions. Sometimes the men are scared of the women. We have to go out with wisdom, not fighting, not contesting, with collaboration. Go and reach for the opportunities and get ourselves, get the opportunity. But we women, looking up, pulling up, looking down, pulling from below, must work together, must collaborate, must cooperate, understanding that the world needs us. Understand? I'm just digressing. My topic is tech. I'll get to the tech. I'm not sure why I was called to talk on tech, but I'll get to it. But let me talk about women, empower women, and the need to bring women to leadership, to politics, to business leadership in every part of the life of the society. The reason the world is the way it is because women have been absent to a large extent in those positions. I remember many years ago when my husband was starting, building his business, and there were men. The HR was men, the legal was everyone men. I said to him, you guys are thinking we have brain because you're half brain dead. Find you some good women, put them in those positions so you have rounded decisions. You have you have ideas that take everything in, the feeling, the facts, all the important parameters for decision making. I think Walter Smith is winning awards now for a place where women thrive. I hear about WOW awards. When we talk to them, they listen. When you bring in women, you make better organizations. But women are falling back and accepted a lot for so long. And now we have a lot of work to do. Sholakwe said 3 generations. I'm going to say we should not wait for 3 generations. If we're strategic, if we're intentional, if we're serious, we can bridge that gap. Let's go for it. But let me go back to that assigned topic. I'm told to talk on tech and the incredible leverage called technology. That was my previous life. I studied, I graduated computer software engineering many decades ago, talk about generations. I'm closer to the dinosaur generation, if you know what I mean. Yes, I did. And technology has changed so much. I'm sure there are many power women in this network that can speak, who are more active in the space and who will naturally have more buzzwords and better sounding side bites than I can master. However, in accepting that subject, I want to crave your indulgence to infect you with this book that I have been obsessed with and which keeps me up at night. Technology in Nigeria. The need to bring tech to the mainstay of Project Nigeria through effective teaching and learning of science and technology in our educational systems, from preschool all the way through to tertiary institution. We talk about tech, and most of the time what we're talking about is using tech. If you talk to your school, where your 5-year-old goes to school, and they tell you they're doing STEM, what they mean is robotics. If they're doing robotics, they're toys. They're not teaching your children how to develop, design, build those robots. They're teaching them how to play with them. I have been going after the leaders in the educational system since the year 2002, to get them to begin to embrace digital education, teaching and learning science in Nigeria with modern techniques for the 21st century. And you might want to ask, on this platform, what can you do? I want to tell you, every single one of us have a role to play. We have an important work to do. We have something to bring to the table. If you go to your teacher, your schools, your child's school, and insist that the materials they used to teach them science is today's digital equipment, laboratory equipment, or whatever, that they're teaching them today's science, social media, you're using the science, your technology. You're not learning it. Every other technology platform you're using, somebody else is working. India is doing it. China is doing it. When will Nigeria take her place, step up onto that technology? Someone is asking, should everybody embrace tech? If you don't embrace tech, you're left behind. If you don't, you become obsolete. Your business, your model, everything just expires on you. So you embrace it, or you simply cease to be relevant. But embracing it as a user, or embracing it as an innovator, as an inventor, I believe that only Nigerian children, Nigerian scientists will invest the life resources that is needed to use the abundant natural and human resources we have in this country to develop and innovate solutions that are suitable and good for us. So what do you do? What do you do for technology? I'm not talking using technology. I'm talking getting us energized, getting us trained up, getting us, in the technology space, creating, innovating, producing, where we become relevant in the world. And I dare tell you, technology will actually catapult us into the 21st century. Technology will bridge that gap so quickly in our education, in the way we reason, in our creativity, in our social life. Technology will be used to, achieve things that we can't. They talk about generation. If we adopt technology properly, and we get into that fintech, and we get into that space in Nigeria, all of a sudden, this 3 decades can be shrunk. But what do we do? What do we do is my question. We can decide that, okay, I don't care about this space. There's nothing I can do. That's one thing you can do, but I'd advise you not to. You can also decide that it's so big, it's for the government to do. But you know that the government hasn't done a very good job of anything. You can decide to get engaged, to get infected with this bug, to do something about it, to use this network and every other network you belong to insist that in that science space, if you identify technology as very important, very critical, can help you to bridge gap, can help us bridge the gap and bring us to the 21st century, really and truly, not just as another consumption, a dumping ground for technological output, but for a destination or a place where innovations are birthed, where products are designed, where, the future, what's the word I'm looking, the frontiers are pushed. You have intelligent Nigerians. We are doing great things across the world. But in our country, we don't have enabling environment. You can tell me, okay, between you and your parents, you can send your kids abroad. Once they're 11, you ship them off. They go and get into a school, in schools abroad where, the whole educational system is infused with technology, and they learn whatever they need to learn. And they will come back to Nigeria. By the way, you can't export all Nigerian children out. And the people who eventually work the day-to-day Nigerian economy went to school with analog. They think analog. So when you're saying things are not working, they don't understand what you're talking about. Their mindset is different. So I would like to recruit all of us on this network, and I want to belong in your network. Please admit me. I may be the older generation, but yes, I like what I'm hearing. I like your tribe. Wherever you are, decide you can make a difference. Decide that whatever you see that's not working right, that you can do something about it. There's a story I always told, and I will close with this, because Nigeria, you watch Nigeria is sliding. I've been giving tech, but nothing is working in this country right now. It's not health. It's not education. There's nothing that is working right. And it's not up to the government. They have no ideas. It's up to you and me. And what I would like to say is, wherever you are, let your light shine. Wherever you are, do what you're doing and do it right. Refuse to cut corners. Refuse to compromise. Refuse to give in. Refuse to give up. Yes, you're a woman. You have a staying power. You're resilient. You're smart. You're wise. Let us, insist that this Nigeria, that is my own passion. This Nigeria needs to be built. It needs to be fixed. And that when everybody shuts down their borders, we're here. It is time to begin to build Project Nigeria. And wherever you are, going back to tech, going back to teaching science and technology to Nigerian children for the 21st century. I'll tell you a story. I've been banging on the doors of Federal Ministry of Education since the year 2002. I've gone to ministers, commissioners of education, governors of states. What are you people doing? Why are you teaching our children with analog equipment in a digital world? It costs 10% of your investment in the lab equipment. For you to, the digital costs 10% of the cost of analog. Analog is too expensive. And it's not useful. It's not helpful. It keeps us back. Why are you not doing this? They wrote me a letter. They don't have a contract to give. When they have money for contract, they will give me. I wasn't looking for contracts. At a point, they sent me a list to quote to equip some schools, federal government colleges. Because what I do, Kachi Company Limited, I equip laboratories, from industries, schools, industries, everywhere. I looked at this list. The same equipment I used to learn biology, physics, chemistry 35, 40 years ago. The same things. I was pained. I went to them in the Federal Ministry of Education. I said, oh, God, do something about this. The same thing. And it's going to cost 90 times more than digital equipment, today's technology, to make our children competitive, relevant, able to operate in a digital world. Please do something about this. They're beginning to hear. Carry the crusade to your children's school. Tell them you're not looking for robotics. It's an extracurricular activity. They should put in STEM-infused pedagogy in the education and science education in their school. Insist that the money you're paying should be used to teach your children in digital language, today's technology. Wherever you are, let your light begin to shine. And as we continue, a critical mass will form. And there'll be enough light in our country to transform our nation. But we must build Nigeria now, please. It is time to arise and build. Thank you.
That was really amazing. Thank you kindly, Power Woman Kate Isa. It's so good to hear from you. Those words are really beautiful and amazing. So right about now, we'll be going to the next speaker, and he'll be talking to us on new opportunities in the new normal. New opportunities in the new normal. Our speaker is Olusheye Adepoju.
Olusheye Adepoju is a Gallup-certified global coach. He is a foremost he/she advocate and the founder of the phenomenal African Woman Foundation, inspiring, celebrating, and empowering women of African descent. He has a result-driven track record spanning 20 years with success in driving operational growth, spearheading change initiatives, optimizing supply chains, and building best-class support mechanisms. He has an invaluable depth of leadership experience in the public and private sectors with a knack for taking calculated risks. A social entrepreneur transforming lives through opportunities and platforms with tenacity for growth and development, initiative driven with capacity and confidence to influence his environment. He has the mandate to help build 100,000 ideas and businesses in Africa by 2030 by building Africa's startup ecosystem. Welcome our speaker, Olusheye Adepoju.
Wow. Okay. So Thank you. I initially was what I'm getting the encouragement because I think I'm in the right place. I love this conference for the fact that it's setting the course to have deep dives, to diagonalize, to chart the direction, and possibly come up with decisions to aid doing. But aside from that, I'd like to congratulate the convener and the entire team on the Power Women Conference 2021. I believe that this is bold, it's timeless, it's critical, it's steering the direction on the external realities of the new normal and of the new world order. And I'm sure someone's wondering, okay, so there's the new order, world order, and then there's the new normal. So what has changed? Okay, I've had the discussions from all the previous speakers, somehow laying the foundation and a background for me to ride on, excellently typified by Lady Taiwo when she started to espouse on the need to know in a bit to become. So it starts from the point of self-discovery. And then we had Lady Sholakwe, take this on with the external reality of tech, and then the strategic positioning angle, and then obviously Alero, when she started to elucidate on the need to have more women ready and bracing for the future. And Lady Isa, great, powerful insight. So what has really changed is that purpose, truly before now, has been misaligned or lost in the roles and responsibilities. And so discussions around roles and responsibilities has been such that men are defined their purpose. Also, women are defined their purposes in line with the current roles they played as a result of the realities at that time. And so things have changed. So things keep evolving. So there's a need for updates and upgrade. So I'm glad we talked a bit around tech. And then when we start to talk about updates, we all have our devices. The devices are wired in such a way that they constantly need to be updated to prevent malware or viruses from attacking the device. So how many of us are updating? The other bit is upgrade. That's also one of the things that I truly like to espouse, what I call reinvention. So the new realities, the new normal, require a reinvented mindset, okay, to be able to play in that conclave. So for definition purposes, we say, look, unlike leaving the door open, which is reinvention, which brings about constant, improvements all over time. What has happened over time is that we've set goals, or we've put ourselves in a point where we're constantly looking for what to do or where to go. And so achievements usually implies an end and does not give room for much more improvement as may be necessary. Now, so let's think about this. If everybody, if everybody thought that the world was such that you needed to evaluate my performance based on the fact that, so I usually use this quote by Albert Einstein. He says, look, if everybody is a genius, and but if you judge a fish by its ability to be able to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Okay. Now, what that means, and I need you to ask yourself that question differently, is that what is your genius? Okay, so that's the first level. And then if you want to think around it the other way, you start to ask yourself, what if as a fish, I've been operating as a fish, or almost like a caterpillar morphing into a butterfly. But the new world order requires me to operate as a butterfly. So it requires new skills, new realities, a new vocation, and every other thing that is new. So it's a typical example would have been, and I'm sure you've all have heard this story around the chicken and the egg, the chicken and the eagle, and that the chicken and the eagle is such that, the chicken was, somehow the eaglets, all right, an eaglet found itself around chickens, and somehow believed that the eaglet was a chicken. And in that process, every other thing meant that, hey, I'm a chicken. So one day, the eagle was hovering around, and the chickens alerted the eaglet and said, hey, look, beware of that creature. It comes and takes us one after the other. Well, the eagle came, took the eaglet. I was like, hey, you shouldn't be hanging around these people. Now, the major challenge that happened, and almost like what is happening right now, is that the eaglet was taken away by the eagle to say, hey, it's time to become. But eventually, the eaglet went back to the chickens. You know why? Look, she says, look, or it says that it's difficult to live like an eagle. All right, I'd rather stay with the chickens. And I think that's one of the, and this is debatable because we have just about 2% of the women operating as eagles, whereas we have much more women that can be eagles, but are still operating as chickens. Now, when I was given this topic and zooming in, accurately, I had opportunities. So what naturally came to mind, I put on my strategic thinking cap, and I remember this tool called SWOT. Okay, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I love the fact that the previous speakers have delved well into areas around the strengths, okay, and also areas around the weaknesses, okay, and what you ought to do to become. And I'd like to paint a picture as to what could then be some of the threats, and then maybe we'll delve into a bit of the opportunities. And I'm going to give you a methodology to help you navigate smoothly. Now, I love the fact that Lady Isa, buttressed the need for technology. But it's also clear now that some of the threats that you'll be faced with, and there are a plethora of threats, the machines. Okay, so even these machines, so in the new world order, the agenda of the world is changing to the point where machines would eventually also start to create their algorithms, and they will start to hack into humans, and then they start to create some kind of system out of their own system. So don't call me a prophet of doom, but I'm a futurist, and I can tell you extantly that some of the battles we're fighting around gender will no longer be necessary, because the bigger threats will be machines. The other threats will be transgender. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are familiar, even in the sports. So we have the transgender competing athletically in sports, and then who wins? Is it the man that is acting as a woman, or a woman acting as a man? So there are legislations going on. People are, discussing that, and you'll be seen to be very insensitive if you say, "Oh no, you are not a woman," when in actual fact the transgender says, "Look, I'm either a man or a woman." There are regulatory barriers, there are working conditions, issues of attitudes. So I coach a lot of women, and I was with one of the, a woman is about to retire. She's going to retire in about 4 years. She's worked in active service in government, and she kept saying that thank God she will not have to work with a man until she retires. And why? This woman had somewhat been harassed, but because of the environment, particularly in the in the civil service, she couldn't really come to express herself, or it would be seen, nobody would even hear her. So we need more women speaking up. Those are the threats. Okay, there are historical handicaps which have been buttressed in some of the things that we have discussed over time. There are moral issues, and there are also business implications as to when power women rise up. Okay, so what are the opportunities? There are a plethora of opportunities also, as well as threats. And one of the things I do as an advocate for AFTA, the African Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Agreement, Opportunity Act, is such that it provides a lot of opportunities along the lines of services. And it's left to you to determine how you want to play. Just wait with me now, because I'm going to be sharing with you a methodology that will help you to be able to achieve that. So there was a book I read. It's called about the guy that stole $58 billion. Okay, but you see, it wasn't about the title, because you could easily put down that book. But it was the fact that the learnings from that book showed the fact that we need to start to position our minds for the future. Okay, and how do you position yourself for opportunities? Is that you must have a know-how. So, case in point, the BVN, and I believe some of our Nigerian audience understand the BVN. The BVN number, banking verification number. Yeah, I think I got that right. Just so that you're able to authenticate the fact that you are the owner of an account, right? Now, that exercise was, a follow-up of a plan that was set in place called the Financial System Strategy. And it therefore meant that plan, government was desirous of achieving that plan, notwithstanding the bureaucracy, notwithstanding the lag in time and all of that, but it had a destination in mind. Now, are you also aware that there's also a strategic plan for Nigeria, that span, I think, 2018 to 2022? But you see, somehow, even with all the bad vibes around the government and the economy, they still stick true to their plan. So in every sector and in every area, have you decided to find out about the plans, whether in the educational sector, whether in the health sector, in the agricultural sector? What are those plans that government has set in place that you can begin to now pursue? Because you see what, we're going to use technology as an enabler, but you need to be able to actively solve problems along those lines in terms of services, in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of the digital economy, digital real estate, digital assets, NFTs, metaverse, and all of that. I talked about trade. Women need to play in trade. The AFTA has opened opportunities for women right now. Can women begin to position? Women have played well in the garages from homes. Okay, so they are better positioned now to navigate even with trade in Africa, notwithstanding the insensitivities around gender neutrality in that sphere. Okay, there's need for political representation. There's need for governance. There's need for education, agriculture, sports, manufacturing. So let me quickly move now. So I have a framework I call the claims methodology, and that's your pathway to experiencing total reinvention that prepares you for the opportunities that are available, almost like that chicken that eaglet that return back to the chickens. You need to have a claims of understanding, a strategy to be saying, how do I become effective in this new world order and in this new normal? And so it's an acronym. The first is C, clarity. You must have clarity. Where are you? Where do you want to go to? If you cannot define the why, then you are probably also just missing the mark. There's the need for learning, okay? Learnings. As you deepen your understanding as to where you want to go, you must now begin to study, all right, the education of understanding where you are going. Then there's need for alignment. There are some things you need to cut off, all right? And that moves me to there are some things you must interrupt, there are some things you must introduce, and there are some things you must improve. Constant improvement. And then you must create a mechanism to measure and monitor. Okay, so, because once you don't measure, you can't get things done. And then synergy, and that's why I truly appreciate what the Power Women Network is doing as to synergy, in the sense that without synergy, you can't achieve much. One of the speakers talked about the critical mass. Okay, so it's in this synergy, it's in these discussions that we begin to build, all right, that framework that endears us to, becoming power women and doing deep things. So in closing, so like we started on, there's a deep dive. This is a deep dive. And as I said, congratulations to the organizers of the event. This is a deep dive into deepening debates, okay? And with deepening debates, we begin to understand that there are things that we need to diagnose, okay? And we begin to see what the problems are. Problems have been articulated. I hope that the rapporteurs of this event can capture succinctly some of these things that will guide and lead to a direction of some sort, and then will aid us in taking decisions. And then this will further help our doing, okay? Also, you cannot be strategically positioned if you're not intentional and deliberate about your why and your how. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say I feel deeply honored to be sharing this, this platform, to be able to share my perspective, not as a man only, but as a futurist, to aid the Power Women Network. I say thank you, and I hope we have future better deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you kindly, Olusheye Adepoju. That was really amazing. That was really, really amazing. Right about now, we'll be having the panel session, and I'll hand over to Kemi Ogunkoya to moderate the panel session. Thank you, everyone. Let's have the power woman, Kemi Ogunkoya, on board.
Okay, it has been a great time of learning. It has been an absolutely phenomenal time here. A lot of lessons, a lot of insights, and I'm just going to say again that insights without actions will always be useless. So a whole lot has been shared today from different perspectives, and it's interesting how we were able to create each of the topics that we are talking about today, because for us it is about being able to develop a whole woman who does not just thrive in one area, but is able to thrive in every area. Thank you so much, Rama, for the great job that you are doing in terms of the coordination. It's been a great time. And so without wasting any further time, I'm sure you can see already that you're in for an amazing one. We're going to be going straight into the panel sessions, and we'd like to have everyone in at this point so that we can leverage from the uniqueness of your experiences, just as you have shared so richly already. So we'll have the panel session. Everyone will come in at this point, and then we will go right into the session. Hello. It's good to have a full house. Amazing, amazing. All right, so we're going to go right into it. And, we have spoken about really key areas, looking at it from technology, looking at it to the requirement for a future forward woman, looking at it from the place of responsibility, looking at it from the place of duty. And I have no doubt that there's a whole lot more that we will be talking about today. So we're going to go into the questions on the panel. Guys, if you have questions, make sure to take note of those questions or just put them in the comments. So let's get started. Now, I know that a lot of people are on the call today, and then they're listening to this amazing information, this great insights, and then they're wondering, so how exactly do I become, right? I hear people say things like, oh, you know what, it's easy for you to say this, you're high up there, so you don't understand where we're coming from. So just for the sake of clarity, right, for those who are in doubt, who think that you just became, can you tell us or take us through your story of becoming, right? How have you become so passionate about the things you talk about? How are you passionate about the courses that you run, that you drive? How have you become this person who is showing up so powerfully? So I want to hear from Alero, and Alero, and then TDA, and then Sholakwe. But then Alero, I would like to start with you. How exactly have you evolved over the year? What has been your becoming story? And what key experiences have shaped you to become this woman who is well positioned in a unique industry?
Okay. I think it's important to start off by saying that becoming is a present continuous word. So it's ongoing. I think a lot of people think that you sort of become and that's the end. It's a continuous process. So even today, I am still becoming. I started off, or should I say, the bulk of my career has been with creative agencies. Creative agencies tend to be a lot more informal, a lot more relaxed, less competitive. It's the creative industry. So 8 years ago, I moved client side or moved to the corporate world, which is Orlando. And it took me by surprise. From the way you dress when you come into the office to the way you engage with people, to the competition. I was lucky enough to have a mentor and a sponsor who sort of made that transition a lot easier. So I think that's probably the first significant stage of my becoming. Once I was promoted to the head of department, I realized that I didn't just want to manage people so that we produced great work. Just based on the leadership that I had had, I wanted to be able to lead and positively impact people. And to do that, you sort of take a step back and say, okay, who are all the people who led you before? Did they lead you properly or did they just manage you? What can you learn from them? And I think for a little while, I wanted to replicate what had been done with me. But the truth is, we're all unique individuals. So there was a lot of introspection to determine, how do I want to positively impact people? How do I create my own unique style of leadership? How do I get comfortable with the fact that I will fall, and that I have to continuously refine the process until I'm comfortable with the final output? So again, that is becoming. And I think more recently, as a result of COVID, I think it's hit everybody in an extremely difficult way. I lost loved ones, I lost colleagues, and I sort of just did work. I poured myself into work, and in the process, I lost myself. And this year, I've gotten to a stage where I've realized that, look up. What have you learned from COVID? You've lost people that you love. You lost people. I've lost people who were high up in the career, doing really well, and didn't expect that they would die. And they've left young children. And what is the lesson learned? um, how do I want to remold myself? How do I want to be more forgiving of myself so that I can build the future that I want? So it's an ongoing process. So I think for everyone, it's important for them to understand that it's an ongoing process, and for them to realize that in this becoming process, you will make mistakes, but you must be comfortable to embrace those mistakes, learn from those mistakes so that you can be better.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for that. So, a whole lot of intentionality, a whole lot of responsibility taking, and being in that place of introspection, really do matter. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, TDA, I would like you to share with us that significant experience that you would say has shaped who you are becoming. What is that one significant experience that you would say has shaped your journey or story of becoming?
Is it my turn, Kemi?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And I'm super glad again to be here. One thing I would say, or one experience I would say, shaping who I have become today would be my upbringing. So I grew up in a family of 8 siblings, 5 boys, or men now, and then 3 women. And my father was very key, critical in the upbringing, um, bringing us up as balanced children, and that women are not of lesser human being to the men. Let me say, he gave us a mandate. He gave us the 3 girls a mandate. Be the best you could ever be. Be the best you could ever be. So with that mindset, that nurtured how I approach life, even my career also. Beyond that, while in the working environment and still in the working environment, I was able to get sponsors quickly from my competencies, from hard work. So I had people, or I positioned myself in such a way that I was attractive to sponsors, and they held my hands up the ladder. And I'm still on that journey. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that. So, which means that no one succeeds on their own. You have spoken about sponsors who have held your hand, and that is absolutely amazing. Now, Sholakwe, we're going to bring you on now, and I would like you to share with us your story of becoming. Is there any key experience that you would say you know, has been really responsible for this you that we have come to know today?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Kemi. Apologies. The internet threw me out for some few minutes there. So I think, my own moment of becoming, or as Melinda Gates put it, moment of lift, was at the point where I was head marketing at an investment firm. Amazing place. Still a proud supporter of that organization that nurtured me. But then, it's not specific to them, but I saw the industry, that's the financial industry, um, across. So when you're looking, or you are stratifying clients, and then you're looking at, top in value, most of the time, if you're looking at maybe the 20 percentile, or 15 between 50 to 20 percentile, is mostly
Okay, all right. We'll have to bring Sholakwe in again. Now, so we're going to move on, and then when Sholakwe comes back, we'll be able to, continue that conversation. Now, I would like to bring on Kate at this point, and you've mentioned quite a couple of things in the course of your talk, beyond technology. But then one key thing you said was coming from the place of women rising up, women rising up. Now, Kate, I would like your thoughts about this because we're talking about becoming in the new world. And of course, the new world is a world that change is happening very fast. We're talking about things like adaptability, we're talking about flexibility, we're talking about agility, we're talking about a lot of progressive approaches. Now, we see women who are still trying to get a hang of this, but then how exactly can women skill up efficiently to stay ahead of the changes and the dynamics or dimensions that this new reality has brought on us?
Thank you, Kemi. Thank you once again for including me in this. I am really very pleased, very honored. What can women do to scale up, and get ahead? The previous speakers talked about how women bought into that lie that we're not as good as the men, we're supposed to stay at home. A lot of gender biases that were fed to us. Your daughter is trained to cook and clean. Your son is trained to go out and do business. Those that we have to be intentional in training up our children to tell them they're equal. They have no limitations, number one. We have a lot of work to do because we are coming from behind. But when you are the underdog, you work harder. We have grounds to cover. We, the women, must scale up, you said. Go out and get information. Go and learn about what's going on. Get aware, learn, train, acquire skills. Don't expect anybody to give you anything on a platter. It's not going to happen. Everybody is looking to get ahead. You have to prepare yourself to be able to get ahead. And when you get that place at the table, you have value to bring. Don't be a token. I heard that, and that resonated with me. No, tokenism doesn't help anybody. It actually reinforces the negative stereotypes against women. You don't want the bad woman to get to the position. You want the ones who have value to add, who bring wisdom, knowledge, and will move the organization or the nation or whatever forward. So training is needed. So getting information is needed. So taking responsibility for yourself is needed. So not allowing yourself to be put down. You want to be out there projecting yourself. Technology gives you for a platform to be able to, put yourself out there. Be careful what you put out. Make sure you put out information you will like 10 years later. And be intentional about it. And never, ever agree to step back. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And, just while you were talking about that, something came to mind that we need to stop playing the gender card. Let's start playing the value card. Let's start playing the value card. The world knows value, the world respects value. And when you bring value, you find a seat at the table. Thank you so much for that. Shay, I'd like to know your thoughts about this. How exactly can women skill up? Right? We're living in a world where the demands are high. There was mention about the VUCA world. It's highly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. How can women skill up?
Okay, so you admitted earlier on that, hey, we shouldn't play the gender card. It's basically about value, and once there's value, you naturally attract all that you require. So I come up with a simple solution called developing your reinvention quotient. Because the reality about life is that the pace of change is constantly increasing. Okay, and even with that, the reality is that we must keep updating. And if in my earlier discourse, I typified the need to constantly update. So we must consciously come to the point where we build our content as to the area, because there's so much noise out there. And what you usually find is, someone says there's a fintech, they're doing the first round, raising about $1 million, and everybody's just gravitating. We want to raise money. Why? Why do you want to raise money? Now, so that means that there must be a destination in mind. You must be able to define truly what you want to do, and it won't just be that you are copying others. So you are staying on your lane. You are trying to improve on your lane and being the best that you can. And it's all about authenticity. Okay, so in your reinvention quotient, One of the things you must do is content, capacity, confidence, okay? Build the character. And all this boils up, to ensuring that you can actively play your own roles, okay? So in all of this, get understanding, get understanding, get understanding.
Wow. Competence, character, we truly cannot overemphasize the place of that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Shalakwe, I would like to hear your thoughts about this. How exactly can women skill up in this VUCA world?
All right. I think I'll just take a leaf from the way technology in our palace has showed me pepper today, right? And to say that on that, I believe that women can leverage a lot on technology. When the call to become the country director for Women in Tech Global Nigeria chapter came, I was already swamped with harvest. But then I looked at it and I told myself, you want women to invest, you want them to get access to savings, you want them to build credit history, you want them to, you know, acquire, preserve, and pass on generational wealth. Because it isn't just about saving and all of that. That is as in acquiring, preserving, and passing on. And the truth is that if they are not equipped, and if women are at the base of the pyramid, usually, or if they are as it is statistically just stuck with fragile roles, or roles that the society has said, no, don't be too ambitious, don't go for it. It happened to me. And the truth is that the people who told me or who said so then, they meant well, or they supposedly do not know better. Maybe, like, I should put it that way. It happened at a point where some seniors said, you don't have to do too much now. Just get maybe you start distributing water or something, and then your husband can be doing the work and traveling around and all of that. That's what happens. That's what So I looked at it and I told myself that if you want to do this, that is with harvest, and then you're talking to women, like I said, who are fragile roles, who are not adopting technology, who are not leveraging on technology, because as we have seen, technology needs women, women needs technology. Technology needs women for robust solutions. Technology needs women for diversified solutions. For, just the same way we need our boards to be equal to, right? Because who writes these codes? If the men keeps writing the code for the women, this is going to be a struggle. I hear you where you said, Mrs. Issa, that we can shrink it. It's going to take a lot. It's going to really take a lot. But God on our side, I pray that we do shrink it. So basically, as I was saying, I had to take that because I realized that you just be talking to broke women if you don't take this and really help, because the mission for women in tech globally is to close the gender gap and help more women and girls embrace technology, right? And there's a number we're working with, that is to get 5 million women and girls globally to adopt and do better with technology by 2030, and we are contributing to that number. So I had to take that call. And so my charge, as you had asked Kemi, that how can women, in the new normal, this normal is not new again, no, right? And yes, as sad as COVID had been, sorry to hear about your health. One of the things that he had done, when it's never let a crisis go to waste, is that it accelerated a lot of things, especially for us that were dragging feet. Before now, if someone said that there's going to be remote working in Nigeria, Nigerian employers, that they must be seeing your face. If they don't stand up, you can't fold your laptop to, So no, we would have said, no, it isn't possible. But hey, here we are now, establishing distributed companies. I tell my staff, please, the next person should sit in Kenya. Do you understand? The next one, so that it's even giving diverse, we are, bringing in, solving for a continental problem, and then it gives for a diverse and robust team. That's how we should be looking. So women really need to adopt technology regardless of what you do. I was having a conversation with a mentee earlier this morning, because we had said that she should get a course, that she should get a certification that she can do in crisis management. And she came back to say, okay, all the short courses I saw, they were having, nothing was talking about crisis management. They were having data analytics and this. And I said, wait a minute, so you think that those people developing those courses, they do not know what they are doing? Because for you to handle crisis properly, you need data. You need data, you need to analyze it, so what it is essentially is that tech is not synonymous to coding. I cannot code. I do not code. I'm a product person. But what the knowledge I have in product is that I'm designing intuitive products, and I have a team that supports me to do that. So technology actually accelerates a lot for you. We have seen. Unfortunately, the brain drain that we are even recording or seeing in the country now, where is the most happening? Is in technology. I have lots of people who want to. There's so many programs. It's in technology, and they are there, getting better livelihoods for themselves. At least they have choices, they have options. If you decide to stay here, if you decide to leave the country, so we need more women to skill up. Either you want to transition, either you want to, even it's in your business, your daily business. We need to embrace technology and do more for ourselves as women. And of course, when we do, please let's remember to give back. Thank you, Kemi.
All right, thank you so much for that. So, a lot of focus now is on technology, and I hear that we have to skill up, we have to develop capacity, we have to build content, and quite a lot of things we have said. Now, I want us to also explore outside of technology, right? Outside of technology now, what other skills do women have to develop to be relevant in this? Now I'm going to take out the new part of it in this normal world, right? All right. And I'd like to hear from you, Kate. What exactly do women, what other skills do women have to develop, build capacity?
You're muted.
Thank you very much, Kemi. I'm sorry. Now, technology, there you go. Women need to be women. They don't need to be like men. They don't need to compete against men. They don't need to upstage men. They don't need to take over from the men. Women need to be women. The world is big enough and needs both men and women. I want to tell you, I want to use a story, an experience I had today to buttress what women need to do to get ahead, to get a place at the table, to be taken seriously. There is an organization, an agency, my company has been equipping for many years. Leadership, executives come. Some of them decide they can't deal with the way we deal because we insist, we refuse to compromise on quality, on value, on whatever. We refuse to give any inch. People say government is corrupt, but we say if you're not inside the kitchen, you can't change anything. I remember I'm a Christian, and I know that Jesus Christ was always with the sinners. While he was there, he was influencing them, he was changing them, he was revealing their heart conditions. So if we are going to avoid politics because it's dirty, we're going to have politicians who are ruling over us, making policies that are not good enough for us. If we're going to avoid the public service, civil service because they're corrupt, we're going to have those things happening and substandard products and services coming out and affecting our lives. So we do need to get in there, whether you're a man or a woman, but go back to a woman. I'm a woman. I'm in an industry that is supposed to be dominated by men, but we lead. We're leading it. I want to tell you a story, a very simple story. This organization we've been equipping for many years. Sometimes they have CEO, the DGs or whatever, they don't like us because we won't play the way they play and they won't work with us. But we have one right now. A new Oga came to town. And I was introduced to that organization and I went there with a proposal. I'm a woman. And most of them are men. They gave us an opportunity to do the first project, equipping labs for them. And then I heard about some other labs they were looking to do and the kinds of people they were looking to do those labs. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. These people, this caliber of people don't know what you require. And this lab has serious implication to Nigerians and Nigerian lives and our competitiveness in the Africa trade, free trade, in the whole, our economy. So we can't afford this. So I went to them. I went to the key decision makers one by one. I'm a fighter bomber. I say, Oga, no matter what you people want to do, please Don't do this. You're going to have legal issues. People might die. You will have substandard going all over the place. It's not good for Nigeria. They listened to me. They decided they've already awarded the contracts to the people, but you guys go to Kachi to collect whatever equipment you need. That because we want the quality they're pushing for. And that's what we've been doing. We have been, you've been giving contracts. It's not my business to audit how government wants to spend their money. That's their problem. But if out of whatever contract you got, it is 1 naira you want to spend on the equipment that will, be used to test food and drugs and things in this country, that will affect everybody in this nation, then it better be the right quality. So women, men, because you're natural, you are even a better advocate for making sure these things are done right. For making sure you go in there with knowledge, you learn. You go in there with confidence. You go in there with courage. We go in there with a mission. And you don't want to compromise. You don't want to sell down. You don't want to give up. You go for the good of Nigeria. And you go knowing, being confident in the quality, in the value, in what you know. And going there to make a difference. Guess what? When you are going with a mission, the man told me today, he said, Madam, all these things you've been doing, my husband was there as he was talking to me. All these things you've been doing, you're not making any money from it. You're just your quality. You're just thinking about Nigeria. We will find you projects to do that you will make money from. I saw guys now about the money. Nigeria. Let us adopt Nigeria. I saw somebody say Project Nigeria. Yes. And if Nigeria is our mainstay, we bring our women A game into it. We, collaborate with the men. We're not fighting. We're not competing. We're working together collaboratively. If people think you're trying to take over their place, they will avoid you. They will fight you. You go in there, affirm them, appreciate them, acknowledge them, but work together collaboratively to move whatever agenda you have forward. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. That is amazing. And it's amazing the great job and the great work that you do with your company, Catchy. Now, you spoke about something and you said that, you are a woman and you are leading in that industry. And that is very, very, interesting. Now, Alero, you are also in an industry that is male dominated, right? You're in the oil and gas industry. It's an industry that is majorly dominated by women. And I know that a lot of women also want to be able to rise, right? To find room for expression. How exactly do women find room for expression to position themselves strategically in a male-dominated industry like yours, for example?
It is true. Research says that I think the oil and gas sector only has 22% of women working within that sector, and the more senior you get, the lower that percentage is. And it's really simple things. I think, first of all, women supporting other women. You would have heard that a lot of women, or experienced it, a lot of women don't enjoy working with other women. There's a false narrative that says that women can be difficult or be difficult with each other. Not something that I've necessarily experienced, but I know that in the company that I work in today, the women champion other women. It's extremely important that we must champion other women. We must tell our stories. If you've been able to get into a leadership position, you must take the time out to tell your story to those who are younger than we are, who are junior, just to speak through our own experience of rising up. I know that there have been stories that I've heard and I thought, oh wow, I thought I had it, I thought it was challenging for me. I remember my HR director talking of an example of her going into a meeting and she was the only female there. And so she was female and junior and she spoke. And the MD of the company they'd gone to present to pretty much said, why is she speaking in this meeting? And I can't imagine that happening today, but it's important that we support each other. And it's important that we tell our stories and we share our stories so that other people understand our own experiences and even see how we manage those experiences. And the other thing that we need to do is speak up. And when I speak to when I make reference to speaking up, I think that's speaking to our male counterparts, whether that be our peers or those who are more senior in the organization. From experience, a lot of men do things based on social conditioning, how they've been brought up, society, or without even realizing that they're stepping on someone's toes, that they're being distasteful, that they're being aggressive. They're just being guys because that's what they've always seen. However, if you don't speak up and you don't correct them and you don't have those engaging conversations, they can't change because on our part, we've made an assumption that if I confront a man and say to him he's done ABC, it could be taken the wrong way. But the truth is, again, from my experience, it's you have the most interesting conversations where first of all they go, "Oh, I wasn't aware. Why would you see it this way? This is what I meant." So there is we're not at war. We must speak to each other. We must state what our challenges are. We must state what our concerns are. So for me, those are the two critical things for me. I also think it's important to get a sponsor. We talk a lot, or what we hear a lot about, are mentors. But a sponsor is usually more senior, usually has clout in an organization, usually sees opportunities even before you see them. So they play a role of mentoring you and guiding you, advising you, but they're also able to bring you up in conversations that you would never sit in and say, "Oh, have you considered Alera? Have you seen Alera?" And they're able to say to even you, "This is how I think you need to position yourself. There's a role that's coming up. This is the work that you need to do." Um, another thing, another thing that I've learned, from working, in the oil and gas sector, and again, just seeing a lot of the women who lead, is really just being deliberate about planning. So not just planning in your head, not just saying, "Oh, this is what I want to do," but sitting down and thinking about what is the future that you see for yourself. I have a team member who I told a few years ago to write a CV, her CV in 7 years' time. Put down where you see yourself in 7 years' time. And if in 7 years' time you still see yourself with us, put on paper, "This is what I'll be doing in the organization." And if you sort of have a view of where you see yourself in 7 years' time as a CV, you start to do all the relevant work. In doing that CV, you have to take the time out to look at your environment. So imagine if you are an event planner at the start of COVID, but you go back and you look at your CV and say, "The CV that I did for 7 years, it was very much about physical events. COVID has shown us that the future is hybrid, the future is virtual. So how do I want to update my CV to show in 7 years, this is what I want to be, this is what I should be doing? And so what are the skills that I need to acquire today so that I become this woman that I put down in 7 years' time?" And then the final thing is really, again, part of this planning is, and it goes back to this CV writing, is a lot of what we do is we write our CVs when we're looking for work, but we're doing great things today. um, as you do those great things, put it down on paper and speak up for yourself and say that you've done great things. I work in an environment where the guys are not shy to talk about the good work that they're doing. And I found it really odd, like, "Oh my God, that's so proud. Why would you celebrate yourself?" But nobody else is going to celebrate you. So be confident and bold enough to speak and celebrate the great work that you do. Don't put it down as, "Oh, yeah, it's another job done." Speak about it, put it down, start to write that CV, even if it's going to be 100 pages long. When you're ready to look at it, you look through that 100 pages and you find out, okay, what are the things that I want to put in my shortened CV? So for me, those are some of the ways that I've seen women stand out in the sector and how I have tried to stand out in the sector.
Amazing, amazing. Wow, thank you so much for that, Alera. That is absolutely amazing. So we need to speak up, right? We need to speak up. We need to be unashamed to blow our own trumpet. And of course, I say that with every sense of duty. But then we have to, they call it the false humility, so that we as women can also always show up in terms of expressing our own values and let people see exactly what we bring to the table. Thank you for such great thoughts and insight. Now, I want to come to you, Sheye, because when Alera spoke, she spoke about sponsors, right? She spoke about sponsors. And of course, we know that sponsors within the organization can come in different forms, right? It can be, it's not gender specific. It could be a man, it could be a woman. In fact, it doesn't even have to be just one sponsor. Now let's look at it from a place of how exactly can men support women in the workplace? How exactly can men support women in the workplace? And why you also respond to this, I would like us to also expand outside of the professional lines to look at it from the family lines, look at it from the societal lines. How exactly can men support women, and how do we ensure that there's more representation and prosperity for women?
Okay, and thank you so much. I've just been having a good time here. So one of the things I like to touch on is why wink in the dark. Okay, so why wink in the dark? And following the line of your discourse as to strategically positioning oneself, it therefore means that if you are winking in the dark or you are doing anything in the dark and nobody gets to know, then you already have started to limit your opportunities for sponsorship. Okay, that's what. Now, so stop winking in the dark. And that aligns with, blowing your trumpet, because it will get rusty, okay, if you don't blow your trumpet. Now, I've been privileged to, I came into this world with a woman. In the womb, I was in the womb with a woman for 9 months. All right, I'm a twin, but that's not even it. I was raised by a single parent, and what that meant was that the indoctrinations, all right, the proclivities I had towards women, the orientation, okay, my tendencies, my frivolities were induced or influenced, all right, so much as to the role, my mother played, and then my sister. Now, somehow, I'd gone through a couple of metamorphoses, okay? So I've morphed into different trajectories in my life, where at some point I would have said I'm a male chauvinist. And then I now moved on to the realization that, hey, women play an indispensable role in society and in the life of a man. And then I'm now in that point where I'm like your Paul, your Saul turned to Paul, and championing, the advocacy for women. It therefore means that there must have been something that we saw. And I've seen a few things, and it's not unusual that even though I've been married for 17 years, I have a lot of women around me, because once I see raw talent, I create an opportunity to be able to nurture it. Now, what has happened over time is that, you see, and I'm also speaking proud to where I am now, where easily you could cajole girls of easy virtue. When that happens is when there's no value. So I remember back in the days I was selling financial products, and if I needed to go anywhere, I would tell any of the ladies that needed to go with me that, hey, if I'm representing or we're going, on this call together, we must split the accounts in a particular ratio. Why? Because sometimes I realized that the reason why most of these ladies couldn't close the deal was essentially because they probably didn't have the content or the capacity to do so. And I said, look, I'll leverage on my own skill, all right, my own strength, and I'll be able to, build that up. But I saw that wasn't effective anymore, in the sense that some other guys wanted to cajole girls of easy virtue. So whenever they got there, it would be about how they look, what they're wearing, and I probably want to take them on a date. Now, you see, we need to start to change the paradigm. I need to tell other women, say, hey, you must start doing things, okay, so that you can be properly valued. Because once you are valued, you will naturally attract. So I remember maybe some uncle is saying, hey, how are you? Let's go out on a date. Let's do this. Let's do that. But if you are not offering value to his business, then you easily end up at that line. But if you are offering business value to his business, he can also even see ways in which he can begin to encourage you and sponsor you, and if possible, get other people to support you. So these are some of the things that we all must, begin to sell to all our younger women out there, to say, hey, back to that thing, build your content level, build your capacity level, build your confidence level, and build your character, and you are best able to attract the best of sponsors or support wherever you are at every point in time.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, Shalape, let me come to you, right? Um, Definitely for all of this to happen, there needs to be some level of comfort with putting yourself out there. What are some of the things that you have to overcome to be this person who is unafraid to be seen? Because I hear from a lot of women who say, no, no, I just like to be at the back end, and then you're running a brand, you're the face of a brand, and we never see, we never know, and we never hear of. And yet you want to stand out, you want to position yourself strategically. So let's hear from the place of experience. Have you always been this person who is happy to put her face behind the brand? Or tell us about some of the things you have had to overcome to become it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kemi, and great session so far, I must say. To that question, I think, Sheye graciously answered that already, right? I didn't even know that this was going to be the question. And it is basically about deepening competence and expanding capacity. Um, for a society that has encouraged and, like I said when we started the opening remark, women should know their place. So even at the workplace, when they want to sell small chops, by default, who handles it? When they need to buy cars, by default, do you understand? So I was at the point where I realized that, woman, um, these are your areas of competence. I've always been very, very passionate about the gender agenda, and I've grown some capacity in the financial industry, and with a background in marketing myself, I know how to build. So it was just like I said, a moment of relief. Like, wait a minute, you have all the ingredients, and of course. I realized the areas that I needed to deepen strength, and I did. I remember that I was actually liquidating my investment and going to school, taking courses and all of that. When everybody goes to sleep, I was reading, researching, and doing all of that. And came into your question, that was in itself that in itself gave a lot of confidence, right? And I will say to you that even so if you know the tech industry, so when I talk about the tech, I'm talking about the startup environment. It's as tough as it comes, and then everybody looks at you like, hey, who are you, where did you come from? I remember when we got where the Hermes was the only Nigerian startup that featured our Tech Cross Disrupt 2021, the only Nigerian startup. And a friend reached out and said, Jorakwe, everybody's talking about you in the tech community, is talking about our Harvest. And I said, wait a minute, who are we? They said that is why they are talking about you. Like, who are you? Where did you call out of? Do you understand? And so to your question, when you deepen competence, when you have the capacity, you exercise it, talk about it. Even people who just do not like your face for whatever reason, they will mention your names. They say this problem, it is Kemi that can solve it. Go and call her. We know she's not a friend of, so it gives you an edge. And trust me, I don't know how many people are on this call today. I can assure you, and this is not, by being pessimistic, like 50% of people will probably leave this call and not do anything about it. But you ensure that you are one of those 50 that will do something and say, out of this conversation, Alero has said this, Shea has said this, Kate has said it, today has said this. I'm going to take this is what I'm if it's one thing, if it's two things, extract it, take it. And if you're going to extract anything and take anything from me, let it be that you should deepen competence, you should expand capacity, and feel free to show up. Oh, she takes so much space. Oh, yeah, please, by all means, do. I tell even I have a very timid staff. Every time we're in the meeting, I'm asking her, talk, speak up. I'm sorry, there's not there, talk, speak up. Because I tell her the other day, I was telling her, I said, if there's a room and there's a Dangote in that room, you have the right to enter that room and say what's on your mind too. But ensure that you have deepened, you have done research, and whatever you're saying, is fact-based and you are passionate about it too. So I think that's just it for me. Deepen your roots and expand capacity. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much for that, Cholape. Deepen your roots and expand capacity. So I see a message, and someone says she feels attacked already, So please take this information and start to use it. Start to use it immediately. Now, Kate, I want to come to you on this, right? Because a lot of evolution must occur for us to get to that point of comfort. A lot of changes must happen for us to get to that point where we say, you know what, it's time for me to develop competence. It's time for me to deepen my roots. In your opinion, how would you say that the female gender has evolved over the years to get to this point of awareness, right? What did it used to be? What is it now? And what should it be if we really want to get a place in the future across industries? Your audio is muted.
Sorry, thank you, Kemi. What was it before? My mother was a teacher, and my father had the career that mattered. That was it. That was before. In my generation, if I wanted to, I could do that as well. But I decided that there's investment in me that should not be allowed to waste. I tell you a story. I went into some office. I went to get someone to commission a lab we have just built. I intentionally decided to approach this person from a different direction, not from family. And I walk into his office, and this person that arranged the meeting says, "Meet Mrs. Isa, the CEO of Kachi Company." He goes, "My brother's wife, what are you doing here? You don't need this now. My brother can take care of you." You know, if we buy into that, if we buy into the fact that we're just for subsistence, it's about the jewelry, the clothes, or whatever, the value, the things that matter to us, then we settle and we're comfortable. We've come to we went through a phase where the wife was the teacher, the secretary, and then the husband got restless and took somebody else, moved on, whether it's abroad or here. And that woman, her life living standard changed. I think that was awakening for some people. And we've come to the place where women are realizing that they have potential. And it's really wrong not to utilize those potentials. Bigger than all of this, Kemi, is we need to push forward to the what is it? Talents, skills, responsibilities. And it will be a shame to end your life on earth not having actualized all that you could. We beyond selves, the car you want to drive, the home you want to live in, the food you will eat, to what you're doing for your society, to what you're leaving legacy, what you're leaving behind, to the world you're creating for your generation. When it is not about you, then you do a whole lot more. Men, women, not gender discriminated, but women more, because we have a tendency to be lazy. We have a tendency to, okay, my husband can do the work, I'll take it easy. I don't need to work too hard. That is a shame. We owe it to ourselves, our creator, to bring out everything that was invested in us. That we don't, when this body goes down, nothing is left that was there that couldn't have been used, because it's not just about us. It's about, going forward. We have to have that as a mission. We have to be intentional about it. We have to know that it's a divine responsibility to dress this earth. And you're dressing it not just for yourself, but you're dressing it for creation, for humanity.
Wow, thank you so much. That is such a heavy charge for us, and of course, it requires a whole lot of responsibility. And something I hear sometimes is, so how exactly do I find a balance in all of this? And Alera, I would like you to talk to us about this. How exactly do we find a balance? We want to succeed at work, the family unit is there, everyone is demanding for our attention. We want to prosper. We still want to be able to be in that good place, having our mental health in check. Is there any balance anywhere, and how do we find it so that we can achieve success?
At least you didn't ask how can we have it all. I don't believe we can have it all. In terms of balance, I think it's a tricky one. I think you may find some kind of balance. I don't know if it's necessarily a good balance. And I'll give an example. So all of us want to be successful in what we're doing. We've just spoken about, leaving a legacy, impact. So it means that if you have a high profile job and you're quite senior in your organization, it means that you're working quite hard. The organization is taking quite a lot from you. But it also means that this professional that you are, you also want to spend time with your family. So to find the balance, what you're saying is I'll wake up at about 4 in the morning. I'm going to start responding to emails and just start work before the rest of the organization is up. I'll take my kids to school so I can spend time with them. And then I'm going to go to work really hard. 5 on the dot, I'm out of the office because I want to spend time with my family, because I want to have dinner with them. Get the kids into bed by 8, 9. And the truth is, if you have to wake up again the following day at 4, 5, and you do that every week for a period of time, you will get tired. So how do you start to create a balance? I think one of the things that you do is set policies or procedures, or set guidelines for yourself. I must finish work by 5. When I get home after work, I want to spend time with my kids and I'm going to put my phone on silent. I don't think that it can work for everyone. I have a role where sometimes there's a crisis. It doesn't benefit the organization for my phone to be switched off or my phone to be silent. But you get home, you've set rules that say when I come home, I'm going to be focused on my child. And because, or my children, because you've said you're working so hard, because you're not working when you get home, or you're not working late because you're spending time with the family, it means that you have to be really strict with yourself, where you're saying maybe once a month you lock yourself up in a hotel and you really just switch off from everything. So that's what my sister does. She has a very demanding job, but she also takes her family very seriously. But her point is, she just never has any me time. It's either she's working or she's spending time with very young children who are also very demanding, but she wants to be there for them. So once a month, she goes to a hotel, she switches off. Nobody should get in touch with her. She doesn't want to speak to her kids, doesn't want to speak to her husband. She just wants to rest. Once every quarter, you give yourself a long weekend. But the point is, in creating that balance between a prosperous business or career advancement and also wanting to spend time with your family and also be emotionally well, you give yourself timelines for everything: timelines for work, timeline for family, and then timelines for yourself. I think for a lot of us, we're not good with looking after ourselves. We look at our mothers who were housewives who work 24/7. They're working all day, taking care of the home. When the kids come, they're looking after the kids. When the husband comes, they're looking after the husband. They're just working, working, working. And we're so used to that. And we have to be really, really intentional about looking after ourselves, taking the time out to say, you know what, I will do this, but once a month, every quarter, I just take time to switch off and just pay attention to myself. I go for a spa, I go for a drive, because I also understand not everybody can afford to do these things. But even if it's a husband, please allow me one day in the room. I just don't want to engage. I just want to switch off. And we don't do that enough with ourselves. And what happens is that you stretch yourself so much. 5 years down the line, you've had a nervous breakdown because you're giving so much to everyone, both your organization and your family.
Wow. I'm sure quite a number of people are planning already, right? They're planning out to say, you know what, I'm getting off. Nobody's going to be able to reach me, but you have said something that is really, really vital. A whole lot of things that you have said. But then I want to just pick on this, that we do not do enough of rest. We do not spend enough time with ourselves. We do not spend some time, we do not spend enough time taking out time to be with us, right? And I think it's really important that we do that, so we do not get to that point of breakdown. Thank you so much for that, Alera. Now, my next question is to share, and we're going to wrap up with this. So, yes, we're doing all of this to be able to achieve that level of balance, our integration, achieve success, and then we're intentional about positioning ourselves rightly. But then I'd like you to talk about the place of strategic positioning and image manipulation. Is there anything like that?
All right. So I'll just take on from a bit around what Alero, was positing, particularly around roles and responsibilities. Now, my simple solution, okay, and I'm not a genius, is that at some point we need to understand that roles are changing, responsibilities are changing, and it's likened to having to use an operating system. So, if anyone is using an Android, you probably will not be able to use the iOS on the Android, okay, except maybe they create some links or synergy between those platforms. Now, I hear people say, how do we create balance? And I'm going to move even swiftly to the manipulation and strategic position. Is to say, hey, the models that put two together, because the model, and this is just taking a deep dive into when we start to talk about the husband and the wife coming together, they play a role. We've seen people creating compartments rather than creating a union, which is supposed to create a chief aim. So we find out that different people in the different people in the same home are chasing different things. So there will constantly always be friction because it will now be a matter of whose priority and what matters most. But when we're able to sync the understanding of both responsibilities, all right, into a chief aim, it's easier for us to be able to chase our 10,000. Now, moving to the area of strategic positioning, is to say, okay, why do you want to position? There's something that has taken over our environment right now. When people talk about faking it till you make it, I think that should probably be reversed to the point as to being authentic and doing what you are doing to the point where you move towards excellence. And I have a simple remedy for that. It says, look, take pride. And what is pride? Pride is an acronym. It says personal responsibility in developing excellence. Now, what is excellence? According to Aristotle, it says the things that we repeatedly do over time becomes excellent. And so it therefore means that in our strategic positioning, in our understanding of the definition of where we want to be positioned, we must now start to say, okay, what can I constantly do? I remember when I came up with the claims methodology, I typified the need that there are things we need to interrupt, there are things we need to introduce, and there are things that we need to improve. So in your positioning, understanding, you must first come to the understanding that why am I positioning? Why do I want to position as a foremost leadership expert? Why do I want to position as a tech? Why do I want to position myself as a new breed HR phenomenon? Then, in that understanding of why, it points to certain things, and with these pointers, you now start to map how to get there, and that forms how you project yourself. Whereas people are in on becoming overnight successes. So you can't really start to talk about strategic positioning without having to have an understanding as to, hey, the roadmap to getting there. And it will take work. It takes grit. It takes resilience. It takes a whole lot, okay? And it's the doing that gets the job done. So anybody that thinks that it's about an overnight success, Kemi, you know this journey now. And I'm sure Lady Kate, can extensively talk around the struggles on this journey, okay? And Alera has also been able to allude to some of those things. So it requires work, okay? And so there will not be any manipulation. Don't be driven by the negativities around social media. It's about you, doing that which would get people to sort you out and then start to build your personal brand around that. I think this kind of gives a direction to that question. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Olusheye, for that great insight. It's been phenomenal conversations. And, we have taken it from all the sides, I cannot thank our great speakers and panelists enough for the amazing insights that you have all shared, the depth with which you have shared, the vulnerability with which you have shared, and the time with which you have chosen to spend with everyone who is on this call today. So let's bring all our speakers up once again so that we can do it proper. Thank you and appreciation, because we'll be wrapping up the session. Rama, I trust that you're ready for us. So a big thank you once again. I'm really, really grateful, and I cannot thank us all enough. Please let us give a clap or an applaud from wherever we are. They can feel it, they can catch it, and we sincerely do appreciate you for making this conference such a great and amazing one. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Coach Rama, so that you can take it off from there. Thank you so much for the great insights.
Wow, thank you. That was so amazing. So we would like to express our sincere gratitude to our phenomenal speakers for training us excellently today. And to the founder of the Power Woman Network, Kemi Ogunkoya, thank you kindly for all you do. We appreciate everyone. We also appreciate everyone for joining this conference. It's been an amazing time together tonight. Thank you, Prescript Digital, for the easy flow of the event. Dear phenomenal audience listening this evening, just like our speakers rightly said, it is time to stand up for yourself. It is time to speak up comfortably. Olushaya said, if you can't wink in the dark, if you're winking in the dark, no one would know. And instead of you faking it till you make it, why don't you be authentic till you are able to make it? And then we should work hard. Most importantly, work smartly. Be deliberate about your growth and success. Intentionality is important. And you're not a mistake. You are not a mistake. Sometimes you feel down. Sometimes it looks as if it's not going to work out. You're not a mistake. God made you, and God doesn't make mistakes. So everything we've learned tonight, let us put them to work. Knowledge is not power. It is when you apply what you know, then you become powerful. To join and know more about the Power Woman community, kindly visit the website www.thepowerwomannetwork.com. And you can also follow up on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn as the Power Woman Network. Thank you once again for joining us tonight. Till we meet again, my name is Rahma Zakaria. Bye for now, everyone.
Definitely be back next year and other years.
My name is Shirley Hales, and I'm an executive management consultant, a business resilience coach, and a leadership strategist. And I'm also a power woman. Today at the Power Women's Network's Power Tribe Hangout, what really stood out for me was the theme, which is fearless. And beyond just being a resilience coach, this is what I believe every woman out there who wants to rise and thrive should have as her superpower. Being fearless is a superpower. It does not mean that you do not feel the fear, but it just means that you are courageous in spite of the fear. So my charge to women out there today, and for those who are looking to be a part of this community, which I recommend to you, is that you should raise your standards every day. This is what I live by, right? Try to raise the bar on yourself. You're in no competition with anybody, so raise your standards every day.
It's a beautiful sunset on the beach with my friends and family. Taking it step by step, we'll take it all. Baby, don't you miss it? Don't you miss it for the world? 'Cause I know